Hello, everyone. Hope you're all okay. I've assembled a motley crew of talent here to talk football and whatever else at this strange time. So who have we got? We've got Jamie Redknapp. Introduce yourself, Jamie.
I'm Jamie Redknapp. I was born in Barton-on-Sea. I'm 40 years of age. 46. What do you want to know?
Alan Smith is here as well.
Yeah, my name's Alan Smith. I am not an alcoholic. Born in Birmingham. Not yet, anyway.
And we've also got a masterpiece and Graeme Souness in the same room. Look at that piece of art, Graeme.
Did it myself.
It looks like it. How are you? You keeping well?
Graeme Souness, the oldest member and most sensible member of the group. Very well. Very well. Just been out from a walk along the beach.
Did you see,
very, very nice.
Did you see Harry?
No, I never see. I see Harry pass occasionally in his car, but I never see him out exercising. I think he stays to the peninsula, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So is that beach quite crowded, Graeme?
No, and everyone's being sensible. I tell you what, I did see just on the way home was a random police check pulling people over.
Well,
it's the first.
You got to be careful. And Alan, it's your daughter's birthday today, so it's quite nice that you're home to celebrate. But it just feels weird, doesn't it, right now?
It does. Making the best of it, though, mate. It's nice we've got all our family together rather than dotted about. She's putting on boot camps every night. She got the 5 stations out there putting us through it. So, keeping fit.
Well, I mean, I was just going to say, that's been a great thing that's come about from this. The people are pulling together, and there's, guys doing different stuff. Like Joe Wicks, David and I were just talking about it. What Joe Wicks is doing, getting kids up early, doing training sessions and things like that. The community is really coming together because this is the biggest leveler we've ever had to go through. And I think it's been amazing how people are pulling together in this difficult time.
You've got to do something positive. I think if you come out of it and you've got an extra, string to your bow, like I've said, I'm going to learn Spanish. Whether that happens or not, we'll wait and see. But
you're still hoping for a move, Smudge? You're still hoping for a move to Spain?
Yeah.
Good will come out of it. Good will come out of it. People might just realize what's important in life. What's really important in life after this.
Well, I suppose that's what we've been thinking about, and it's like a time for reflection. And we're going to have a few of these conversations, I guess, over the next few weeks and months. I've been doing a lot of reflection. Like you say, Smudge, you've got to try and think of something else to occupy your brain. Can you come out of it with a different skill set? We want to put a few ideas out there, get a few different subjects of conversation. So how about this for a starter? Unfulfilled talent. Graeme,
nice positive one.
Yeah, exactly. But like we're talking about, it's time for reflection, isn't it? Could I make the most of everything that I've done? I know that I probably feel I haven't in certain areas of my life. Graeme, what do you think of when I say those words? Personally,
yeah, I think I got the most out of myself as a player. Could I have been a better professional? No, not for the last 7 years of my career, I don't think. Could I have been more dedicated? No, I don't think I could. Did I work hard enough in games and in training? I gave everything. Into management, I think if I had my time again, I'd be quite a different manager if I had my chance again.
In what way?
So I'd be less aggressive, less harsh, less demanding on people. Sort of late in my career, I realised that not everyone has the same attitude as I had to the game. Some people are a little bit more relaxed about it. And I used to get extremely frustrated by people who didn't appear to have that win at all cost mentality. And I would fall out with people over that. Maybe Jamie, I think Jamie would have witnessed some of that when we worked together when I was at Liverpool as a manager.
Did you, Jamie?
So I think away from football, I think when you get to my age, you can become better.
As a manager, sorry, Dave. Yeah, well, listen, he had I think you've only got to watch Graeme on Sky, and anybody at home will know what Graeme is about as a person. He demands excellency. He wants to win, probably more than any player that I saw. I mean, and it was, I think he'll admit, win at all costs. That's what drove him on. He had an incredible ability to do that. As a manager, I think Graeme gave me my debut as a 18-year-old. And, that for me is one of the greatest things. You'll never forget that. But I remember at times he'd fall out with people because they didn't care as much as he did. And I could see the frustration, and he'd lash out at people. And I'm sure if he had his time now, he might have took a step back, maybe walked out the room. But when you are that way, when you're built like that, it's very difficult. And I think the way the modern manager is now, I think you have to suck it up a lot more. I think you have to walk away. I think you have to be a totally different type of person, because if you fight fire with fire nowadays, you've got no chance. And I think it's got worse probably even than when Graeme was managing in those days.
What would you say to that, Graeme?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I'm interested to hear what Smudger has to say about George Graham, because I imagine he was extremely fiery and got upset when things weren't going well. He wouldn't be slow to point a finger at people so much. Is that right?
Oh, most definitely, Graeme. Yeah, he was old school. He demanded your best every day of the week, never mind about on a Saturday. Once he'd seen your best, he wanted that again and again and again. So he kept on pushing us, maybe in a way that, as Jamie says, you perhaps can't do so much these days. But he certainly helped my career. He taught me things. He was a striker himself, very good header of the ball. So he developed my game. But, if you didn't suit him, talking about unfulfilled talent, I was thinking about this morning, and a name came up that you might remember, Graeme, because you broke his leg, apparently, Ziggy Johnson. Ziggy Johnson?
Yeah.
My records state that in May 1986, Scotland v Iceland, you broke his leg. I only saw that today. But he was a midfielder. He joined Arsenal from Sheffield Wednesday.
I remember him.
Yeah, he was a central midfielder, but he was a very composed lad on the ball, and he loved to get it off the back four. He loved to, Tony Adams, Steve Bold had it. He'd go within 10 yards and demand it. Now, George wasn't having that. He didn't want that kind of build-up play, and he wanted his midfielders to support me or Paul Merson or whoever. So he suffered at Arsenal, but he was a very talented player. He couldn't get in the team. He only made 8 appearances over a couple of years or so. And he had a really bad back injury as well. And he ended up actually retiring from football, 91, I think it was. And then he actually went back. He played in Iceland, and then he played for Dundee United. But he was a name that cropped up when I think of unfulfilled talent, somebody that could have been a top player. He's like the Sigurdsson of his time, the Everton player of his time. He was that kind of figure back in Iceland, got about 65 caps for his country. And it was a shame it didn't work out for him at Arsenal. And that was down to the gaffer not being his sort.
Do you think, no, I was going to say, George would have seen him play. Maybe he thought he could change him from being someone who went into the back four and got the ball cheaply. I mean, at Liverpool, we had a name for that. And it's called... It's the name of a player who was around at that time. I wouldn't disparage him here, but you don't be doing a
Huddy.
This club. Sorry,
I've heard the saying.
Yeah, well, they said don't be doing a Huddy, which meant you went into the back four unchallenged. You got it, took a 5-6 yard pass, and turned round, and then you were faced with generally 10 and the players you were playing against. They wanted you, as George was promoting at that time at Arsenal, you get off the front, you fight for the bits in midfield, get us started from there. And that's where the game has changed dramatically these days, where you see, and it seems to be acceptable, where midfield players go into the back four, they turn with the ball, standing next to the centre halves, and they turn with the ball, and they're now looking at 11 players they're playing against. So if you factor in his own goalkeeper, his 2 centre-backs and 2 full-backs, what's that? That's 6 players. 6 players. Now he's got to find one of his players, one of the other 5, in amongst the 10 outfield players of opposition, and they get away with it time and time. It's not. I can imagine Ronnie Moran right now turning his grave because we were talking about this, because he That was a real passion of his. That's cheap, you would say. Go in there and get the ball.
What was that saying? Don't be doing a hoodie, Graeme.
Ask Jamie.
Is that?
I remember he was a great player anyway. I mean, he could really play, couldn't he, Graeme? And I think it was just a saying that it was, there was a lot of. Harry Lyon was another one at Liverpool, wasn't it? Harry Lyon with the third man run, Graeme. Remember that Ronnie Moran used to say?
Yeah.
Ronnie Moran was a great coach. I mean, he was tough as they come.
But did he have empathy, Jamie? Ronnie Moran?
Sorry?
Did he have empathy? I think that's what Graham's sort of alluding to, probably, that, he had that will to win. But perhaps, Graeme, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you maybe lacked a bit of empathy towards those who didn't see the game the same way that you did?
Sorry, is that for me, Dave?
Well, yeah, but it was... Yeah, you can comment on that.
No, you're talking about Ronnie Moran?
About you as a manager.
Oh, yeah. Listen, I learned all my stuff off, Liverpool. That's where, when I went into management, I tried to copy as much as I could from what they would do. But, the obvious thing I never had in any job I managed, and the players that Liverpool always had. I mean, I inherited a Liverpool team. They were still a very good team. I won a trophy for a couple of years, and we're definitely on the way down. My problem with that is it changed too much. But we're getting away from the subject. People who haven't fulfilled their potential. I knew we were going to talk about this, and I knew Smudgy was going to come on the programme. What about Ozil? Will Ozil finish? I think the question's about who, when you finish your career, I know Jimmy got his knee injury, so he'll think he didn't fulfil his potential. But that's unavoidable what happened to him. But for someone like Ozil, Smudge, Jamie, do you think when he finishes 2 years' time, 3 years' time, 4 years' time, he'll look back on his career and say, I did everything I did to give myself the best chance of being successful?
Difficult, isn't it? I don't know him as a lad. I don't know what he's like in training. I would imagine he's pretty similar to what he's like on a match day.
When you watch him as an Arsenal supporter, do you come away thinking, Ozil put a shift in today?
No, but you look at his record, Graeme, he's been Germany's Footballer of the Year about 4 times. He's a World Cup winner. So, from his point of view, he's going to think, well, what I'm doing has reaped dividends, I've been successful. I'm trying to play devil's advocate here. But there are times when you feel immensely frustrated by him.
You can't throw... As I see him, we should not have a conversation about him because he is so talented. We should be talking about him, one of the greats that came to the Premier League. But the fact that, and I don't think I'm alone in thinking this, I think there's so much more from him. You say he was 4 times possibly Player of the Year in Germany. Is that because he picks and chooses when he gives his all for Germany? I mean, I think in his time at Arsenal, would he be deemed a success at Arsenal? Given what they paid and given what they're paying him?
No, I don't think he would be. They're not going to win the league anytime soon with him in the side. No, he'll be regarded as one of those immensely talented. I think Arsenal fans can see how talented he is, and his teammates can recognise that. They would see that every day, but even they would be frustrated by.
I tell what I will say is
talking about Graeme.
No, I agree with you, Alan. What I will say as well, Graeme, I don't think it's been that easy because he's probably played in the worst Arsenal team that we've seen in many years as well. I think that's probably been not easy for him. I get what you're saying about his talent, unfulfilled. He's won a World Cup final. I'd have given anything to win that. So he's a World Cup winner. His talent, does it? When you see what he's capable of and his assists, should he do more? Absolutely, and I think there's a lot of frustration with him watching him. But he'll probably look back on his career and he's finished and go, you know what? I brought a lot of joy to people. I won a World Cup winners medal. I think and I don't know him, as I say, so I can't speak for him. But I guess he'll probably look back and go, no, I had a great career. That's how I see it. I don't know the lad, so it's very difficult to understand what goes on in someone else's brain.
I think he'll look back and think he could have done more. When you say, I mean, I'll go back to where I started. It's not a conversation we should even be having because he's that talented. But I mean, I can go back to when I was 15 years old, and I remember something that stayed with me throughout my career. Bill Nicholson was talking to, not me specifically, at Spurs, 15, maybe 16 years old. And he was talking about you know, what midfield players do. And he said, watch Ray Bunkle, a guy called Ray Bunkle that played for Spurs Reserves. He was a midfield player. And watch him when we lose the ball. He said he sprints back quicker than he sprints forward. And that stuck with me forever as a midfield player. And again, I know Ozil's a 10, sometimes midfield, sometimes striker. But when he loses a ball, it's just a general disinterest to do the hard yards. And he's not alone in that. And maybe he's given carte blanche to be like that. But I think, you know, if you're out there, first reaction, you give the ball away yourself. Especially, the first reaction is to sprint, get goal side, and be part of the team that gets the ball back for you.
Jamie, you I just of injury problems.
We should have this conversation.
Yeah, well, let's move it on. Jamie, you suffered all sorts of injury problems, as Graeme's already alluded to. Do you look at your own career, and I know you've been doing some introspection yourself recently because you're writing a book, and would you say that you have unfulfilled talent? Were you able to make the most of what you were given?
Well, I suppose I signed for Liverpool as a 17-year-old. I made McGrath gave me my debut as an 18-year-old. I played for England at sort of 20 years of age. Euro 96, I think, was a big opportunity for me to. It was a game-changing opportunity. I came on against Scotland at half-time. I played extremely well. I'd have played the rest of the tournament. I broke my ankle with 5 minutes to go. That obviously put me out for a year. The following year, I came back. I was starting to find a bit of form. I broke my ankle against South Africa, playing for England again. Got over that. Got in the Liverpool team regularly. Became captain. Within a year of being captain, I had an injury that is probably the worst injury you can have, which is a conjugal defect to your knee. And I was always playing against time then. And when I look back, regrets maybe sometimes that the frustration would have been when you were injured. It was an inclination to go out maybe, and because you were out for a year, and there'd be times when I'd maybe go out for a few drinks with the boys, maybe go back down to London when I perhaps should have stayed in Liverpool and rested up. The next day you'd wonder why your knee was a bit swollen, and then you'd realise, well, I probably shouldn't have had a drink, but I was a young lad. But when I think back to unfulfilled talent, I don't think I can honestly look myself. I was a great trainer. I adored football. I had an obsession, a passion for the game. So unfulfilled talent, no. I tried my best, and to say, if someone would have said to me when I was like my little boys up there in the garden playing football now, at 11 years of age, I'd have played for my country, captain Liverpool. I don't think I would have said unfulfilled talent. No, I'd have said a little bit unlucky. Could have done better. Could have been a better player at times. But in terms of working on my techniques and trying to become a footballer, I think you've got three people around this, on this Zoom conversation that would all say, well, we did all right.
Graeme, go on, Alan. Go on then, Alan.
No, I was going to say, I agree with that. In terms of unfulfilled potential, I don't think I would describe myself that way. I won a couple of league titles, League Cups, Cup Winners' Cup, the FA Cup, couple of golden boots, played for England. So that is an amazing CV, really looking back on everything. I would never have imagined that when I was a boy. But the last 3 years of my career, I've got huge regrets from that. I only scored about 6 goals over those 3 seasons, something ridiculous. When my confidence fell off a cliff for various reasons, and it was a miserable time. And, those last 3 years, that's the exact opposite of how I would want my career to end, which did finish early with a knee injury at 32. But I always still think about those years and wish I could change them, wish I could have just changed my mindset and my career path. Wish I could have done something different to get out of that rut, because it was a really miserable time that dragged on and on. We're talking 3 seasons, and that's a long time. The only highlight was scoring the winner in the Cup Winners' Cup final against Parma in '94. And then the following summer, I had to pack up. So certainly wasn't the way I would have wanted to go. But, as a whole, you look at your career and you think, it was all so lucky to have earned a living out of football, and the laughs that you have, the times that you experience, so lucky. So you can't think about the bad times too much.
No, I agree, Smudge.
Graeme, pick up on Jamie. What was he like as an 18-year-old who you gave your debut to?
Do you want sort of the honest version, or do you want me to be?
I want the honest version, please.
No, he was a very, and how he's changed. He was a very, very nice young man. He wanted to learn. He was mad for football. He was one of them you had to pull off the training ground. He loved striking the ball, which he was a lovely striker of the ball anyway. He loved striking the ball. He wanted to stay behind. Remember Ewan Hutch, because he was a really lovely striker of the ball as well, Don Hutchinson. And he just had an appetite to learn, which was, they're the kind of kids you want to work with. And it was tragic that he ended up getting his injury, because as great a career as he had, I think he would have gone on to play 60, 70 times for his country and won a lot more. But, it's fate. He was unlucky, getting the injury that he got, because it was when your knee is such a, you think of talking cruciate ligaments today. It's the one that players don't want because it affects so much of your game. And being in midfield where it's all about stopping and starting and twisting and being aware of your surroundings, that was the worst sort of possible injury he could have got. And he was a big unit, Jamie. He was all there. He was solid. He had everything. I can remember having a conversation with him and saying, look, you've got fabulous technique. You've got a great attitude. Are you prepared to cross the line? And this is how it was in those days. And sometimes you have to be prepared to fall out with people, I said to him. And he said, I remember what he said. So, yeah, I can do that. I'll do that. And, I just wanted to get a bit more aggression into his game. And I think as he got a wee bit older, remember, I'm talking to an 18-year-old and saying this. And I think he got that. And I come back to, I think it was just the injury that prevented him reaching heights that under normal, fair wind he would have reached.
I remember, David, remember we played Southampton one day at Anfield, and I just got in the team. I think I'd scored the week before, come on again. We won 2-1 against Chelsea. And so we played Southampton, and I was playing well. Anyways, 0-0, about 5 minutes to go. My number comes up, and I felt good. And I was like, why are you taking me off? I'm looking over, and Graeme sort of giving me, come on, like one of those. So I jogged off the pitch. I think running raggy in my coat. And in those days, the dugouts were sort of just starting. I threw my coat, and it's gone near Graeme, and I'm like, my adrenaline's flying. And I think I fancy myself against him right this second. But then as soon as it then 10, 20 seconds went on, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, then when I get down, I'm thinking when I get into the dressing room, he's going to knock me out. I was only made it. That was about 11 stone wet through, and he's going to kill me. Anyway, he called me over. He said, Jamie, he said, come here. And I was like, oh no. I swear I thought he was going to stick one on me. Anyway, he said, no, listen, you were great today. Well played. He said, but in future, don't throw the coat at me again, because we might have to have a straighten up. I was like, all right, I promise I won't.
What's he bring you off for?
I don't know. Honestly, I was flying as well, Smudge. I was doing a bit. We were attacking the cop end. I just nutmegged Terry Hurlock, and then
that's why I took you off. He'd have been after you.
Yeah, to save me.
Well, interesting, Jamie. All the sort of the highs and lows that you've had. I know you've got two boys. Well, a big passionate about football. Would you hesitate to recommend football as a career, given the highs and lows that you've experienced?
Oh no, I'd listen. Charlie's a 15-year-old. He's a talented rugby player. Bo's 11, and he's football mad. He's at Chelsea Academy, and I think it's the greatest life. You have a camaraderie, like Alan said. You're in a dressing room environment. I mean, since I was 4 or 5 years of age, it's all I can remember as a kid. Wherever my dad managed, be it at Bournemouth or in America with people like Jimmy Gabriel, and I'd be around Bobby Moore and Jeff Hurst living in America. Football has been incredibly kind to me. Everything has been my life has been because of football, and I am so fortunate to have done it. So, if my little boy has the talent and the application and the obsession, I think that's one thing that I've noticed, and it's the same with Alan, it's the same with Graeme. When we all think back to our being kids and wanting to be a footballer, it was an obsession. Now, to be a footballer, you can't mess about at it. You can't just every now and again go in the garden. You've got to go in the garden when it's raining, when it's cold, when everybody else has gone in, because that's the only way you can do it. And I've tried to say that to my little boy. Now, whether he's got that obsession and that desire, I don't know. That's what Alan had, and that's what Graeme had.
You can't put it in anybody, though, can you, Jamie?
You can't, mate.
You've got to go out because you've got to enjoy doing it, being in the pool.
Absolutely, and that's what we did. We enjoyed it. Graeme enjoyed it. I'm sure, and I did. It was just all I wanted to do. I saw a picture of me as a kid. I only had a football in my hands, and that's what it was about when we were kids. And I think to be a footballer nowadays, you've got to do that.
And I think being a footballer today, there's no excuse if you've got the talent for not succeeding, really, is there? When you get to a certain stage, we've all seen the size of the backroom staff. You've got everything laid on for you, haven't you? The sports scientists, the fitness boys, the video analysis. They're looking at various parts of your body, muscles that need strengthening to make you quicker, stronger. It's all there for you. And the only thing today, quite often, that does stop people from achieving their potential is the money. You know, you might be a 17-year-old that's still a year away from the first team, but you're earning 10 grand a week, whatever, driving the nicest cars. And I know that's a bit of a cliche, but that is one thing, obviously, that we didn't have back in the day that would stop us. That hunger wasn't sated by money, that it can be in certain personalities.
You've heard me, and I say it on a regular basis, and Dave will chuckle when I say it again now. You know, you've got no chance of being successful at a football club unless you've got good senior pros. See if you agree with this. And what you just touched on there, Smudge, you know, someone's on, you know, he's 17, 18 on 10 grand a week, and he gets his, you know, his eye is allowed to be taken off the ball. That's when you're relying on your senior players to drag them back into line and point them out, or point out the errors of their ways. And I certainly went through that as a young man going to Liverpool, and maybe early on not being a Liverpool player, and it was quickly pointed out to me, this is what you do in this situation, this is what you do in that situation. I learned so much, and I think you're right. You know, I think from the age of 12, even before, they get a tracksuit with their initials on it, they get a bag with their name on it, and they're called Chelsea players, or they're called Liverpool players, or Man United players, and they've not even got on the first rung of the ladder yet. And they're, you know, and they may have had their parents might have had a house bought for them, and they get too much too soon. But maybe that's the rest of the world, you know, not just in football. Just young people today, like we all went through apprenticeships. I can still relate back to that, how I learned things. I mean, at Tottenham, Jamie, the best job you had was doing the brasses, and that meant the brass plates.
I believe that. That's a bit.
Yeah. The brass plates that were holding the doors and on the door handles. It was, you know, when you got to the sort of 17, you became a senior apprentice. You got the inside jobs as opposed to being outside.
This might have to be edited. Talking about senior professionals, Graeme, and I remember going up to Liverpool to do a game with you. I think it was probably even last year, and I was on the train, and someone was chatting with me, and he said, "Who are you working with?" And I said who I was working with, and it was you. And he said, "Oh, send my best wishes to Charlie, won't you?" I said, "What do you mean? Who are you talking about?" "Charlie, you're working with Charlie. You just told me you're working with Charlie today." And I had no idea who he was talking about. So I dug a little deeper, and I was completely taken by surprise when I was told that you were the original Champagne Charlie, and that was your nickname at Liverpool. And for some reason, this had been kept as a secret from me. So would you like to explain how this ultimate professional got such a nickname?
Well, I've never been a big beer drinker, and I've always loved champagne. And obviously, we had lots of reasons to drink champagne at Liverpool in those days. Dave, I've lost the picture.
Be back in a second.
Can you hear?
Yeah,
you're back.
I'm still here.
Yeah, I'm saying, well, obviously, we're winning a great deal then, so there's always champagne around. But I do, and it's still today, I'll have a glass of champagne. Just don't drink the same volume anymore.
Nothing to do with your flamboyant lifestyle then? Okay.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I was, contrary to what you've heard, I was not much of a drinker. I didn't, I had my moments, but, you know, I generally looked after myself. Why is there a silence?
You'll be pleased to hear, I've still got that bottle of Dom Perignon, which Mr. Mourinho gave us. It sits on ice, waiting for a happier moment to drink it.
Where's mine?
Story, don't you?
Eh?
You know the story, don't you? We go to the training ground, Spurs training ground.
Jose. Where was ours?
So Jose produces a bottle of Dom Perignon, very, very nice champagne, and he says, "Please drink that for my compliments." So somewhere that bottle of champagne ended up in the Jones household.
Yeah,
and
Weasel.
He substituted it with Prosecco somewhere. Here's the champagne, boys. And he thinks he's got away with it. Oh, no, he hasn't. He's not getting away with it.
Of course, yes.
Like I said, in happier times, it will come out again. Listen, it's given me loads of thought then about possible conversations we can have in the future. But I think we'll leave this one there for now. Look after yourself, fellas.
All right, Dave.
Yeah, everybody stay safe, mate. Guys.
Yeah, all the best, boys.
We'll be
Happy birthday to your little one, Smudge.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Not so little these days, but have a good day, you lot.
For your baby, though, mate.
Yeah,
Happy birthday to Emily, Smudger, and thanks so much for joining us, fellas.